What did those American attacks on the Iranian nuclear facilities really mean? What is the state of the country of Iran right now? What are the people thinking? By all estimates, the regime in Tehran is at its weakest point since 1979 when the Islamic Revolution took over. And those American hostages were held, 52 of them, for 444 days. Well, there are people from Iran that live in exile that watch this every day. One of those folks, Ali Safavi, an Iran expert, an official with the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Paris-based National Council of Resistance of Iran, NCRI. Ali, greatly appreciate you being here today.
Well, it's actually my pleasure and glad to be with you.
All right, so let's sort this out. Obviously, you have contacts in Iran, people you speak with, even though you live in exile, and so do a lot of your compatriots. But what is the situation inside the country? What is happening post U.S. strikes on the Iranian nuclear facilities? What can you tell us? What can you share?
Definitely. First of all, obviously, I have contacts with my family members and friends, but more than that, our movement, and particularly its main component, the Mujahideen Khalq, called MEK by its acronym in the US, as a major nationwide network within Iran, who have been particularly active since 2017, and they are basically every day are engaging in acts of resistance against the Iranian regime. Just last night, these resistance units attacked one of the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard bases in Tehran. And these kind of activities are continuing. In fact, even when the war was going on, the resistance units were active. In the past year alone, they have carried out 3,077 operations against the IRGC and its paramilitary shock troopers called the Basij. So naturally, the situation within Iran is very volatile. The people, of course, are very angry. They reject this regime in its entirety, given its terrible economic policies, the massive unemployment, inflation, rampant corruption, 25 million Iranians living under the poverty line, 15 million sleeping hungry every night, massive and consistent power outages, water shortages, you name it. And so really, from our point of view and from the feedback we are getting from the network, the nationwide network within Iran, you can describe Iran as being a powder keg.
So you've been involved in Iranian politics for a long time. You're part of what is referred to as the Iranian Parliament in Exile. You watch this with great interest because you and the people around you can foresee a situation where you and your group of individuals would be in power in Tehran and not the Ayatollah, correct?
Well, that's an excellent question. Actually, Steve, our movement, in particular the NCRI, has been fighting against the Mullah's regime since 1981. In the course of this struggle, we have lost 100,000 activists, including my own brother, who was 29 years old when executed in 1981. But our fight really is not about assuming power. As our president-elect, Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, said before, 100,000 Iranians who had assembled in Paris during our annual summit a couple of years ago. We are not fighting for power. We're not even fighting for a share of power. We are fighting to restore sovereignty to its rightful owners, who are the Iranian people. That said,
how does that happen? Fair question, Ali. How does that happen? How do the Iranian people that are completely unarmed, at bay from those that are in power, the Iranian Guard and so forth, how do they rise up? How do they take control? How is there a revolt when they have, I don't think they have any tools, do they?
Well, actually, in the past 7 years, actually 8 years, since 2017, there have been 5 major uprisings against this regime, the latest of which was in 2022, which, of course, the mullahs brutally suppressed. this is where the resistance units come in. They basically are acting as the sledgehammer that will break down the wall of repression and, of course, mobilize, organize, and encourage Iranians to join the ranks of the resistance. Ultimately, I think this regime will be overthrown with a organized uprising within Iran. And of course, in the course of that uprising, you have to counteract and neutralize the IRGC, which, as you correctly said, is the main instrument of repression. This is precisely why in our struggle, we are not asking the West to provide money. We're not asking the West to provide troops on the ground. We're not asking the West for weapons. What we are asking for, and this is something that Mrs. Rajavi said during a congressional hearing back in February, is for the US and, of course, for Europe to acknowledge and recognize the right of the Iranian people to topple this regime and restore democracy, a republican form of government.
Ali, real quickly. Real quickly, and literally 15 seconds. Was the U.S. strikes on the nuclear facilities of Iran the right thing to do in your estimation?
Well, to be honest, I cannot specifically say whether this was right or wrong, but there's no question that we are where we are because of the regime's 21 years, 22 years of intransigence vis-a-vis nuclear weapons program.
Fair point.
And willingness to abide by its international obligations.
Well, I agree with that. Ali Safavi, greatly appreciate you being here. We talk to your folks at NCRI pretty regularly. I thank you for the update. We'll check back in soon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Really appreciate it. There it is, a perspective from the Iranians not living in Iran who are trying to exact change in their country. Difficult thing to do, especially with that regime in Tehran. We'll be right back. It's the Steve Gruber Show.